That's our deal. Princeton Apartments, Northgate Apartments. Hey, my friends on Clubhouse. Oh, there she is, Salita Albert. Okay, I see y'all. Good. We're gonna get started now. So what we are doing, I'll go through the investment summary, property description, and then I'll show you my pro forma. We got a PPM for 9 million Class A shares. That's what we're putting together. This call is not a solicitation for dollars. I'm just sharing our pro forma and everything with you guys to show you how we do it. I'm not going to go through the numbers here. I'll do it on the real one. But the way we put this together, we used $100 instead of $150 per unit, closest to the comps for premium. So this is a Class A deal. The market is right outside of McKinney, Texas, connected to Frisco, Texas, McKinney, Frisco. And then Princeton is about 8 miles east of downtown McKinney. Why we chose that site? Because Princeton has had David, I accepted it. Okay, there you go. Princeton's had about 7,500 single family lots hit the ground in the last 2 years. So it's a really, really strong submarket of rental housing as well as luxury high-end apartments and homes in that area. We did non-aggressive rent growth over the first 3 years. I don't think we had any rent growth in year 1, and in year 2, I think we did 1%. And those are really anomalies because typically when we underwrite a deal, prior to COVID, we were doing 2 or 3% rent growth every year after year. So it's got a 6,500 square foot clubhouse, smart technology throughout the whole asset. Stabilized cap rate 6.63, expense ratio of 38.29. The only reason the expenses are so high because the property taxes are high, but our operating expenses are super, super low here. Debt service coverage in year 2, 1.8. I've got this at a 7-year hold period. The 7-year hold, well, that's the way I put it as an exit. Investor return 21% plus. I'll show you how we can get to the plus pieces of this as well. Anticipated exit price right at $54 million. Our all-in cost on this deal is $36 million. So you can see the upside that the developers are making anytime they do something like this. They're taking a risk, but also there's a huge reward. We're doing an LTV of 75% of the total cost on the front end on an interim loan, 36 months interest only, rates at 5.25, 30-year amortization. At refi, our principal balance will be just short of 36 million, 76%, 75% LTV is what we're forecasting, just so that we can be very conservative and hit our numbers for our investors. We're anticipating a 4% interest rate. If everything stays the way it is right now, that thing could be 2.5%. Because we're doing green energy and LEED certification and indoor air quality plus, we could get some sub 2% interest rates, which makes this even more astounding. And then we'll amortize it over 30 years. 9 million equity, 2.5 equity on the multipliers, the way it's projected. The property description, community clubhouse, open green space, dog running park, barbecue park, outdoor patios. Look, and this is the actual development as designed. That's the way it's gonna look. It's 3 stories, really beautiful. Class A finishes give this newly built community a luxurious feel for the residents. The asset provides 3 levels of luxurious smart apartments, LED lighting, energy store appliances, LEED certification, all eco-friendly credits known today and into the near future. The asset provides interior corridors, washer dryer connections, and washers and dryers in each unit. All-inclusive billing of utilities for residents with rub systems for recapture for the ownership. Extra amenities include high-speed internet furnished at cost, some covered reserved parking. Actually, we've got several, I think we've got 100 and some odd garages that we will be able to use for extra income. COVID inspired, built with the benefits that is mold, fungi resistant, fire resistant, no red line chemicals in any of the materials, and the best air quality available by allowing no transfer of air from unit to unit. And that is the benefit of building with our SIP panels. And hang on, y'all, my phone is going dead, so give me 1 second. Let me find that charger here. All right, I'm back. Let me plug this dude in. Y'all on Clubhouse, if you haven't logged in, you can go to zoomwithalvin.live and you can watch what I'm actually doing on Zoom. Okay, see ya. Additional amenities, reserved garages to be captured on a pro forma, but to be conservative underwriting does not fully account for the likely income. So the reason we did that is we're providing it, we have it there. We know we're going to get money for it, but we're not loading this pro forma with all of the income abilities that we have just for conservative underwriting purposes. Hardwired high-speed fiber optic internet throughout. You know, with everybody working from home during COVID, so added benefit. Unit summary, we've got 1s, 2s, and 3s. The biggest makeup being in the 1s and 2s. Larger 2-bedroom, 1-bath units. And by square foot, the 1-bed, 1-bath, and the 2-bed, 2-bath are the most. Yes, David?
Hey, I'm trying to follow this on Zoom. I'm on board. How do I get on?
www.zoomwithalvin.live.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, am I going backwards? No. So the median household income for this area. So we talk about why do we pick certain areas. One of the reasons we pick this area, the median household income is $72,000. If a tenant were to spend 25 or 20% of their income for rent, they could pay upwards of $2,000 a month in rent or household expenses to live in anywhere in that area. And that's typically the way that goes. 16.9 acres is what we bought, fully entitled for 400 units in Princeton. And that's a big factor here. We paid $6.9 million for this land for 400 units. And I'm gonna show you how I have this whole 6.9 into this equation, but how when I take it out, what it does to the numbers that I did not forecast for the investors, just because it gives me so many ways to over deliver versus under promising. So ability to obtain historically low interest rates, access to Highway 380, 5 minutes from Sam Raven Tollway, 5 minutes from 75. Population a day in 2020, 27,258. The median property value was right at 200,000. Household income 72,000. Persons 25 or greater with a high school diploma, 26%. Population trends, as you can see, the home values in Princeton have gone through the roof over the last 10 years. The home values have gone up consistently 5%, 3 to 4%, but they had a big spike here. I think that's somewhere around 2012. And you can see the number of homes in the price ranges from 100,000 to $1 million. Most of the housing has been built within the last 10 years. There was a big spike in 2000, and then consistently about an 8 to 10% growth year after year since 2000. It's a real young population. And then property description, 200 units, 176,000 square feet, 8 acres, because we bought 16, so half of that's for phase 2. Your built's gonna be completed 2022. But we under promise and over deliver. There's two parcels here. It's multifamily zoning. Application fee is 50 to 75 bucks. Pet fee 35 to 50 bucks. On slab foundation, SIP panel framing, exterior brick and siding, concrete. And this is just all the stuff about Dallas. This is the current state of the site today. All of the soil has been moisture conditioned for the first 9 buildings. As you can see, these trucks right here about 10 feet below ground. So when you are building a development, if depending on the soil here in this region, you typically have to drop down 10, 12 feet of moisture and pull out all that dirt, start moisturizing those pads, and then putting the dirt back and compacting it to a ratio that's done by the engineers. And so all of this has already been done on this site. So what we did was not only did we buy land that was already entitled, but we also bought this land. We're buying this land with this work's already been done. So our construction time to get started could literally be less than 30 days from closing. So this is a true shovel-ready project. And these are just some of the renderings of the buildings from the side view, front. I mean, it's gonna be really nice. Class A, dog park, barbecue areas, yada, yada, yada. Nice pool area, smart home technology. And then I'll go through my pro forma on the other side, not here. Hang on one second, let me close that out. And look at all of my underwriting models, man. They start with a basic and they go all the way up until we get to the finished one. And so the one that we present, and I'll show you, this is what most of us do. So I went to a course with Grant, and I know how he pays his investors, and I know how he does his interest rates and et cetera. So I took my model and used his numbers to see how that worked, and to see if our investors would do better with our model, his model, or whatever. And then I've got an internal model that we use for us, because it has some of the more aggressive stuff on it that we do not publicize, because again, the goal here is to put together a deal that is that works and not be super aggressive. But on our model, we can take it as aggressive as we want and give us a lot of parameters. So this is my input page. So this is a very simple model that I use, but it does everything that I want. I've got another model that includes all of my development costs and all of those things to be able to get to here. But I'm gonna start here. So where we're at, property name is Northgate. Year built 2023, 7-year hold period, market rate. Actually, the number of buildings is 9. Princeton, Texas, Dallas and McKinney submarket, it's on 8 acres. As you see, year 1 and 2, no rent growth. And then in year 3, we went to the normal 3% rent growth. Physical vacancy, 100% year 1, about 85% in year 2. And then we're forecasting this out 5-year at 95% occupancy across the board. Hey guys, everybody on Clubhouse, if you guys want to follow this on Zoom, the link is www.zoomwithalvin.live, and I'm going through all of these numbers. Feel free to join us. Please join us. We got an economic vacancy of 3% across the board. So what is an economic vacancy? Economic vacancy is actually a tenant that is living in your unit that may not be paying you. And it happens every day. So we've got a 5% vacancy plus additional 3% vacancy. So we're technically saying we're going to operate this property at 92% occupancy. And these numbers are smoking at 92%. The market right there is about 98%, because there's not much housing in that area that's for rent. And the McKinney market is 97, 98%, which is really close. We did an other income growth of 1. And I'll show you what that is, but every year after year, we're just speculating that we'll go up 1% on that. And I'll tell you, as developers and owner operators of apartments, when you have no rent growth in a year-over-year period and your insurance is going up 19 to 20% just because taxes are going up year after year, just because you got to have a really strong operational system to make that work when you're not able to grow rents. And there are not many people pushing rents in this market right now. So we've got our average unit size is 799 square feet. We've got our rents from 1172 to 1827 for a total rent square foot average of $1.61. The market in McKinney, Frisco is $1.75, $1.80. And some of them going close to $2 a foot, but I don't have to do that to make this work. Here are the current rents right here from 1172 to 1827 for a 3.2, that is 1,260 square feet. That is $1.45 a square foot. For some of you guys in New York and California, you think we're crazy in Texas because those rents are so low. I was actually in Minnesota yesterday and they're getting 2 to 225 in Twin Cities. So to have that level of rent differential between different markets is astounding. But you know, if I push these rents to $2 a foot, man, we would be killing it. So let's go on over to my pro forma. Now, well, nope, let's stay here. Let's finish the input tab. So right here, what we've got leased is total number of vacant units. So we will not bring on any units until we get to month number 10. Now that is being hyper non-aggressive, super non-aggressive. I don't know what the term is, but I'll say super non-aggressive, because we believe that if the city allows us, the way the model goes for us, to start on one end of the property and wind up on the other end of the property, we could start seeing income as early as month number 7. But again, I'm not going to forecast that, because that skews the pro forma if in the wrong way if you do not hit those numbers. So we're bringing on units as early as month number 10, 10% basically every month after month through month number 19. And by month number 19, we have 200 units occupied, but we have a 8%, remember, 8% vacancy baked into these numbers, which is well above the market vacancy rate. Our other income, this is a big driver for this particular property and the way these units are built. And I'll tell you what it is. So we've got 200 units where we're going to put washers and dryers in at $45 per unit. That's super, super cheap, but that's okay. $45 a month, you're going to rent our washers and dryers. What if you already have one? Well, we're going to do a buyback plan and buy your old washers and dryers and let you rent ours. So technically yours are free for year number 1, but you're not going to want to move. So we start making income on that on year number 2. We've got $135 per month for 60 garages. We've got a trash valet service for everybody at $25. We've got late fees of $75, and we're only, speculating that 10% of the units will actually have to pay that. App fees, we got that averaged out over the number of units, so that, the app fees were $50 to $75. Forfeited deposits, you have those. We have 5% of those, and that's averaged out over 200 units to about $5, right at $6 a unit per month. Utilities, this is our big deal right here. We're going to charge $120 for lights, water, because the resident won't have to pay it. The water is typically billed back through third-party services. Most new apartments are charging that. That rate's anywhere from $25 to $40. We put a value of right at about $25 for that, which leaves us $95. So we're going to charge you for electricity. You do not have to get your own power turned on. We will take care of that for you, and you do not have to worry about it. It's all built into, you just write us one check. Why can we do that at $95 a month? Because we are building with, there's my friend Don just jumped on. We just, let me just say, so man, we got Sunil on, Shirley on, Shalitha on, the Yankee family on. That's my buddy Don, Lamar, Jamie, Alexis, Titus, Janice, Harvey, Andrea, Jonathan, a 614 number, and just so many more, man. Thank y'all for joining in with us. So the utilities, that's where I was. So because we're using these SIP panels, structurally insulated panels, where we've got a HERS index rating that's superior to anything else. What is that? That basically tells us how much our utilities will cost us to operate these units. Based on an engineer's report and that HERS report, we will be able to provide power to these units for about 25 to 30 bucks per month. And then we will be able to pass that on at a substantial delta. And with that, let me see, hang on 1 second. Okay, Giuseppe was trying to do something. Giuseppe, if you need to get on, the link to follow this is www.zoomwithalvin.live. Awesome. Okay. So I want you guys to see this big number here. So just off of the utility costs, well, let me finish here. Plus the internet, we're going to charge you 70 bucks a month for high-speed fiber internet. How can we do that? We're going to buy the internet at the street, and it's going to cost us a lot less than 70 bucks a month. But we've got 70 bucks a month in here for income, so that's $14,000 a month. So I want you guys to look at where we've got our biggest drivers here. So the washer and dryer income will basically pay for the washers and dryers. So that's an in and out, right? The utilities and the internet, that is 340, right at $356,000 a year in income from those two items. Our offsetting expenses for those two items, utilities, $180,000 a year in utility costs. Our internet costs, $72,000. So we've got $252,000 in expenses between those two items for $268 and for 400, and so we're making a $200,000 delta there. About 200,000. Let me show you where that is key for us. Look at how much it costs you in payroll to operate the property, $233,000 a year. So we've got all of our labor costs for the manager, the assistant manager 2, the maintenance guy, the maintenance junior, and the cleaning porter covered off of the delta from the utilities. You can't do that anywhere else, only with these SIP panels. Now let's keep going. Man, this lights me on fire. So now you can see all of my other expenses, true life expenses. These are my budgets. General admin, 40,000. My payroll's 233. R&M, that's repair and maintenance. Guess what? That's $20,000 a year. That's $100 per unit. Typically, our underwriters need to see $450 a unit there to even make sense. Why do we operate at $100 a unit? Because this thing's brand new, and we've got 10-year warranties on all the mechanicals. So we have absolutely no expense for operating these apartments. If somebody breaks it, they're going to pay for it. So guess what? Actually, this $20,000 will go back to our bottom line, but I can't show it that way. So by having it here, okay, it's almost a plug number, because we're not going to have to use it, because again, everything's new, everything's warranted. So I'm going to recap real quick. $233,000 in payroll to operate this property. We got $450,000 between our utilities and our internet costs that will pay for 100% of our payroll. You can't do that anywhere. Plus, we've got a repair and maintenance line item that is 25% less than any other thing that you can underwrite by any underwriting standards. And we're not even going to spend that because it's brand new with 10-year warranties on everything. Man, if y'all probably really want to help us build 20,000 units and own a piece of it across the country. And we've got everything else built in here. Let's see, make ready, pest control, probably won't need much pest control. Guess why? Because these SIP panels are treated to resist any wood destroying insects. So guess what? The roach is not going to come either, but we got to add it in there. $30,000 a year for landscaping. Here's our utility costs, professional fees, real estate taxes, $600,000. See, that's what I was saying. If our taxes weren't so high, that operating expense of 38% could be a whole lot lower. insurance costs, internet, and that's pretty much all the expenses. Now, let me show you how to put this thing together. This is where the fun happens. This is the magic. $6.9 million acquisition cost of the land, $85,000 in legal. If my attorney is watching, don't you dare think about it. But anyway, that's what we put there. 85,000. JV cost for my PPM, 15,000. Again, don't you think about it. But anyway, you know, we just put some numbers in there to make sure that we are gonna over deliver, man. When you can tell the story, if you can tell the story and paint a picture, man, you can get anything you need from anybody. There's always somebody willing to help. Hard cost construction, 24 million, $120,000 a unit. That does not include any of the groundwork. And we're working feverishly to make sure we can hit those numbers. But check it out. I got $1 million contingency in here, which gives me another $6,000 a unit. So surely between 120 and 126, 127, we're gonna be able to hit it. All of my soft costs for development. My civil engineering costs, that number that's already paid. But the reason it's already paid because we bought this site with approved plans, entitled, everything, permits ready to go. So that civil architect engineering fee of $250,000 is not a plug number, but I leave it there in case we have any modifications that we have to go back and do, or in case we have to use that number somewhere else. There's $800,000 for muni fees, tap fees, fire suppression system fees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Interest reserve, guess what? I got a number built in here. I'll tell you about that later. Acquisition fee of 2%. I'll tell you about that later. Broker fees, 2%. That's going to be somewhere around the cost of my money for a broker. You know, most of the brokers that are providing debt on an asset like this want a 1% fee, and we may have a 1% exit fee, but we've even negotiated where we don't have an exit fee, but we've got a 1% fee on the front end. Again, I've got another $125,000 down here for legal. Plus, remember at the top, we got another $100,000 up here. So we got $225,000 in legal fees. We'll probably spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $45,000 to $50,000 to get this done. Again, having a little extra money just in case, but putting in what is normal and customary. And then I've got another lender fee number here, $252,000. That could be admin fees, that could be junk fees, that could be fees that will be reimbursed, like appraisal fees, surveys. But you know, most of that we've already got. But again, just putting those numbers in: $100,000 for closing costs, miscellaneous costs, $10,000 working capital, plus a 5% contingency. You never know what'll happen. So we got $4 million in total soft costs for a total capital stack of $36,285,000. Or $181,000 a unit. Whew, man, that was a mouthful. But let me show you something real good. $36,285,000. Here's my loan at 75%, $27 million loan. We've got some loans being quoted. Hey, Nelson, you want to jump on Zoom, man? It's www.zoomwithalvin.live. www.zoomwithalvin.live. Check it out. We got a rate 5.25. We're probably going to get a quote somewhere around $29 million for debt, which is closer to 80% LTC, loan to costs. They love the deal. The deal works really well. If we can get a higher LTV on this side, what that does is it reduces my amount of equity needed. We pay a higher pref on the equity. So it just leaves enough room for everybody to make more money. Again, we're just over delivering what we promise on. And by building in all these different segues to do that is how we do it. Oh, okay. And then on the, let's see where we at. So yeah, here's a recap of that. Principal, 27 million. So 27 million, 36 million, that leaves, you know, right at $9 million for an equity piece. Now, let me show you the refi here. 75% refi using a 5.25% cap rate at exit. Refi loan of $35 million, pulling out $7 million of the equity on this scenario. Let me show you another deal. We got 9 million in it, okay? What if we get a 4.5 cap rate? Oops. 54 million in value, pulling out 12.7 million in equity from refi proceeds. I won't forecast that because we don't know what the cap rates will be in a year and a half or two. But look at the difference. In a 5.5 cap rate, 5.25 cap rate gives us 7 million. 4.5 cap rate gives us 12 million. We got 9 million in equity. You can pay off all your equity to your partners. It's a non-taxable event for them. They get all their money back at year 3 when we refinance. And but let's go back to a 5.25 cap rate just because I'm gonna walk you through all the way through this pro forma. So here is the 9 million in equity required, but you see the value 47 million, and that is just at year 3 refi. So we got 36 million costs. We have added 11 million, 26% value in 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. Talk about value appreciation. Oh my God. Total equity needed 3% fee in case we have to pay some equity brokers for that. So that's where we're at. Origination fee of 2%. So again, I got 2% built in here. I got 2% fees at the top. So I'm more than covered in fees. Let me show you how I propose my split of cash to my investors. 90% of the cash goes to the LPs. We get a 10% share. 10%, that's it. We get a 1.5% asset management fee. The equity is 10% to us, 90% to the LPs, but we built in a hurdle of 15%. So when they hit a 15% IRR, everything splits to a 50-50. What does that do? That tells my investors that I'm gonna make 10%. Basically, that just covers our fees. 10% of the cash flow covers our costs and etc. Until we make sure our investors have had a dynamic return on their money. And then when they hit that, we get a 50-50 split. And let's go down to the exit in year 7. NOI, 2.6 million, exit cap rate of 5%, built in all the fees, 54 million in value, net proceeds after paying off the debt, 18 million. Come on, y'all, let's go. 18 million in value. Now, these are at some really super conservative numbers. I'm gonna show y'all how we can play with this pro forma. You know, I've never seen a pro forma that didn't work. So don't believe the hype that every pro forma you see works. But what we've done on this pro forma is we've insured our construction costs. We know we operate properties. We know how to operate them. We've taken data from all the comps in the area and know what our rents are. We know what our expense ratios and expense loads are. So all of this works. But let me show you a couple of ways we can play with this. And I told you we were going to over deliver to our investors, right? So let me go over here and I'm going to show you something. So on this deal here, here's the cash flow to the waterfall. Nothing in year 1. So my 10%, our 10% as a GP is very minimal. The LP cash flow to them is more substantial. Ending balance on their deal, on their capital accounts. They got a 10%, $10 million kicker at year 7. Remember, I showed you that after the debt, and it shows that we split that money, yada, yada, yada. Here's the 21% or 20.19% with a 2.5 multiplier. Property level IRR, oh my God, bam, 43. Okay, we ain't gonna focus on that. I'm gonna take you back to my input page and I'm gonna show you how aggressive this thing could get. Remember, we paid 6.9 million for the dirt, right? Now, I'm gonna come back up here and I am going to change that number to the number that is truly applicable for this site. Remember, we got 2 sites, phase 1 and phase 2, 200, 200. You split that 7 million by 2, that's 3.5 million. So we're gonna put 3.5 million in here. 3.5 million. Total acquisition cost, 3.6 now. Now let's look at the returns. And I'm gonna show you why I left it at 6.9, because what we're gonna do when we get to the refinance is we will actually sell the other half of that property to Northgate Apartments Phase 2, a brand new entity. We'll bring in $4 million from that sale and actually add to this cash out. But look at what lowering that purchase price of the land did by 3.6 million, by 3.5 million, same amount of LTV, same returns. Look at the LTV refi proceeds right now go over 9 million at a 5.5 cap. So remember, this was 7 million, 7 million and something. Now it's over 9.5 million, which more than covers my equity. All my partners get all of their money out with this rate. So what if we go to a 4.5 cap rate? Oh my God, there's 15 million in refi proceeds. So let's just come over here and look at this. That puts them at a 28% IRR with an almost $7 million kicker after getting their money back and receiving 50% of the cash flow. Man, and then of course, you know, debt service coverage is probably 1.10. We probably need to, I'm probably gonna be debt service restrained here. What does that mean? That means I am pulling out more money than my property can support here. Our DTI, our debt service coverage ratio, needs to be at least 1.25. So what we would have to do is actually back our loan amount down, which means this thing's worth so much money, we can't even pull out all the money to max out the loan amount. So what I'll do, that's the pro forma. I'm gonna come back over here to this deal, and I'm gonna put back in $6.9 million because that is what we're closing at. But we know that we've got 6.9. We know that when we refinance this deal, and this is at year 7, so what'll actually happen on cash events, cash flow promote, tranche 1, additional distributions. This additional distribution, oh, let me go back here. I think I got this cap rate still at 4.5. Yep. 5.25. Come back here. Now, what we know that based on selling phase 2 property to a new entity at year 3, these additional distributions right here will go up by 4 million. So they will have basically $10 million in cash proceeds at year 3 at refinance to pull out and distribute back to the partners. And then they'll go on to receive an additional 5.5 million, over 21% return when we reposition this thing in year 7. And that is how we underwrite our deals. This is my full-blown pro forma. There's a lot of sales and a lot of calculations behind this thing. But this is how we do it. I've got another pro forma on the front end that gets me my development costs. But this is it, man. This is the magic. This is the magic. And this thing actually puts all of the information on a dashboard, a 1-page dashboard that I can look at the whole highlights of the whole deal, and that's it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this multifamily monopoly presentation of Northgate Princeton Apartments. And that's it. Let me stop my screen share, see if we got any questions over here on Zoom.
That was a whole lot of information, Alvin.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
It was awesome.
I am trying to get to where I can see everybody. I can't see anybody. Ooh, I did something. There's my meeting controls. There's that. Well, I'm gonna just leave it like this. I can't see everybody, but at least I'm not locked out. Y'all got any questions? Hey, Don, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. When you did your takeout loan, what were you running for a percentage on interest?
I used a 4% interest rate.
Because like if you did that through HUD with the green basis points, right now that's down at like 1.8.
Absolutely. We're just under promising and gonna just knock it out of the park with an over delivery. And guys, Don Yankee is my really good friend and our relationship expert with the Extreme Panel. He's the guy totally responsible for helping us build these things. And yeah, we've forged a really great relationship. Can't call it a partnership because a partnership is a legal entity, and because you know, you can be bound by terms of partnership agreements, written or implied. We have chosen to use the term relationships. So yeah, anybody else got any questions? Maybe I see you looking in, baby. Appreciate you. Keisha Kennedy, how you doing, ma'am? Cynthia, Fred. Well, man, I hope y'all have enjoyed this. I got it recorded. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. I got so many recordings in my Zoom box. But yeah, I just wanted to you know, we were asked so many questions on Clubhouse. Well, how do you do this? How do you do that? I hadn't seen anybody go through their full underwriting model. So guess what? We are disruptors in the education space. So I just wanted to put it out there and let everybody know what we're doing. This is how we're doing our development. We've got a developer apprenticeship program that is kicking off on June the 9th. Anybody that wants to be a part of a high touch development course where you actually learn all of the stuff that we just went through on this Pro-forma, and you get to hold our hand and come out to the job site with your hard hat on and watch us and watch the guys put these deals together and learn all about the development of why we chose that site and what's going in the ground before the slabs go in. If you want to learn all of that and even how these SIPs are made and take a tour through the plant with us. Oh, one more thing, and also become a potential part of the GP. We're carving out a part of the general partnership for all of our students to be a part of the general partner that's making the decisions on this asset so that you can actually have enough experience to go out and be your own developer. That's what an apprenticeship program does, right? It prepares the student to go out and do the job on their own. Our developer apprenticeship program is going to prepare any and everybody to be able to be that guy. The link's on my website, alvinhopejohnson.com. Man, we're going to build the most sustainable, friendly, eco, all of that good buzzword stuff, ESG compliant, all that, you name it. These deals check every box. And those are the apartments we're putting on the ground. Those are the partnerships that we are developing. Those are the relationships we're developing. Those are the people that we're developing to go out and be great, great, great. This isn't the Alvin Johnson show. This is the Multifamily Monopoly show. And that means everybody can play Monopoly, right?
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely, Alexis.
Forgive my verbiage because I might not know exactly what I'm talking about. This was really helpful though. But when you were saying it was shovel ready and you bought the land for 6.9, so that was the no infrastructure was in place, just the entitlements, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The entitlements are in place and the dirt has already been conditioned so that we can put all of the slabs on the ground.
Okay.
All of the water and sewer is at the curb, so we don't have to bring it. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And so Alexis, Don Yankee is the guy that I was telling you yesterday that has developed these same type of apartments around the racetrack in California as a sound barrier.
Yeah, I looked up Thermal Club, right?
No, yeah, that's the racetrack. Don, tell her about that.
Yeah, so that was through their group, and it's in Minnesota, not California.
Same thing.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
But what they did is you have to put a sound wall around the track because you're not supposed to let more than 65 decibels off the property.
Yeah.
And that sound wall is like $10 million. So what we did is we built or designed a series of units that are like high-tech garages. And then it's a 2-story with a party deck on top. And they're in 5-unit sections. And then we connected them around and we found a siding company that has a STC of 80 outside of our panel walls. So the buildings themselves become the sound wall, and then you can sell them off.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, those townhome units, car garages actually become either apartments, or they become townhome rentals, or realistically around a high volume racetrack, you probably have some drivers buying them or renting them out for weeks and months at a time, preparing for races, right?
Wow.
So
so the apartments they're not affected by the sound. I mean, that's how the quality of the build is.
Correct.
Correct.
It?
Yep.
That's correct.
Yep. Yeah. So that
not
helps
only
us.
Don't tell them not only the sound, but also the energy efficiency, right? It gives you the ability to capture that extra income.
Yeah, that's the thing is we're trying to make them very energy efficient, and you know, Arizona's not quite so bad, but in a lot of areas, for the moisture protection of the cars. So the SIPs being a vapor barrier and airtight, we do a lot of buildings for car collections and those types of things. So it really has a multifaceted, but we got it where everybody wanted to be able to see the track. So by putting the garage down below and then doing them kind of in segments, they end up like groups of guys will get together, and we decked out the garage floor. So somewhere in Ferrari red, somewhere in Lamborghini yellow, you know, pick the Porsche blue, just to try to get these guys really into their world. And then there's also a group that we found where we can do soil modifications, a lot more cost effective. And we've even now got it to where, do you know if they're going to do a blacktop or concrete track, or had they picked?
They were doing a berm design, and that is not happening at this point right now. I mean, like I said, it's the design is ready, and it's been designed by Apex in England, and they're ready to go, but that's still up in the air right now. So any information, I'm like just taking it all in.
Yeah, because we've even got some companies we've worked with that do asphalt with recycled plastic in it. So even if you're really trying to get to that environmentally friendly, you know, but we have a lot of this design done that we could talk to the architect if that would help you guys shortcuts and stuff too.
That would be amazing if I could get your info and whatnot. That would be incredible.
Alexis, I'm gonna put my information in the chat, and then I don't want to bombard Dawn, so just
sure. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem, man. This is why we do this. Again, it's not the Alvin Show. We want to provide the best quality housing for everybody to own across the planet, and we just happen to have a platform that can help everybody do it.
Cool.
Yeah, so cool.
So.
So any other questions? Any questions on Clubhouse?
Hey, Alvin, how's it going?
Hey, good.
This is Rich. We spoke yesterday, and I think the conversation that we had was like the basis behind you having this room today. And I wanted to see if you could just possibly like share the video with us, maybe via YouTube or one of those platforms, because then I can give me the opportunity to just deep dive into the information that you're providing here today.
Yeah, I'll upload it to my YouTube channel. I sure will.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. That's a good idea. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, man, this has been really, really good for me, really insightful for me. Any questions on Clubhouse? Giuseppe, you good?
Andy, you are amazing. You explain very clear, and for this, I love your style. You know, it's very clear. No, and when people have a question, sometimes it's because people use complicated words, but it was very clear, and you are amazing about what you say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. All right, guys, we don't have any more questions. I'm gonna go ahead and end the Zoom, and I'm gonna stay on Clubhouse, and I guess we'll just hang out for a little while. Don, thank you for jumping in today. I'm gonna text you Shannon Robnett's number. Oh, I sent that to you yesterday?
Yeah.
If you got a few minutes, he said he's available to talk today. So if you don't mind following up with him. Shannon's another one of our Clubhouse connections that wants to build 191 units in Idaho. So again, Alvin's not making money on this with anybody that wants to do this. I'm just helping extreme. And a lot of people want to know, man, how can I add value to people? How can I do this and that and blah, blah, blah. All you have to do is find somebody doing something that you want to do and go add value to them. And I promise, probably your dreams will come true. That's what's happened here. I've helped to just spread experience and the knowledge I know about Extreme Panel to everybody else. And what do we get out of it? I got a great friend in Don and the owner of the company, and we're going to get to go put some of these apartments on the ground, and we're going to get to be a catalyst to help a lot of other people own apartments that would never, ever, never have an opportunity to do that. So I'm gonna end the Zoom. And again, Dawn, thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alexis. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Elvin, this has been helpful. Thank you very much.
Hey, good. Thank you, Shalita, for saying it.
Talk soon.
Thanks, Elvin. This was great.
Awesome. Thank you. I didn't see you said that though. I'm looking. Hey, Liana. Hey, there you are. Good to see you. Hey, Rich, thanks for bringing this up yesterday, man. This was, we've done this only once before around another deal that didn't materialize, but this one's materializing because we got the land under contract this time. So thank you for bringing this up.
I really appreciate this one. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully more conversation in the future.
Absolutely, for sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna end the Zoom and I'll see you guys in those clubhouse streets.